Many old people slowly become more traditional over time, not because they refuse change, not because they cannot understand new ways. Something deeper is happening. Their mind begins to hold on to what has proven itself over time. When people are young, they experiment, new ideas, new habits, new ways of living. Change feels exciting. But with age, experience starts to guide thinking. They have seen what works and what does not. So instead of trying everything new, they return to what feels stable, what has lasted, what has meaning. There is also something important about certainty. New things bring uncertainty. How does this work? Is this reliable? Can I trust this? These questions require energy, effort, adjustment, but traditional ways already have answers. They are known, familiar, tested by time. So the mind naturally prefers them. There is also a strong connection with identity. Traditions are not just habits, they are part of who they are, how they were raised, how they lived, what they believed. So holding on to traditions is also holding on to themselves. Letting go of them can feel like losing a part of identity. There is also something emotional here. Traditions carry memories, family gatherings, cultural practices, simple routines. These are not just actions, they are moments filled with feeling. So when they continue traditions, they are also keeping those feelings alive. There is also a shift in risk tolerance. Younger people take risks, try new things, adapt quickly. Older people become more careful. They avoid unnecessary change, because change can bring discomfort or even problems. So they choose what feels safe, and tradition feels safe. There is also something about mental energy. Learning new systems, new technologies, new behaviors takes effort, and energy becomes limited. So instead of constantly adjusting, they stay with what they already know. There is also a quiet trust in the past. They have lived through different times, seen trends come and go, so they understand that not everything new is better. Some things fade, some things fail, but traditions have survived, so they carry weight. There is also something about values. Older people often feel that certain values were stronger before. Respect, discipline, patience, and these values are often tied to tradition. So by holding on to tradition, they are also protecting those values. There is also a need for stability. As life changes with age, health, roles, environment, they look for things that do not change. Traditions provide that, a sense of continuity, something steady. There is also something about belonging. Traditions connect them to a group, a culture, a family, a shared way of living, and that connection feels important, especially when other connections may be fading. There is also a quiet resistance to chaos. Modern life can feel fast, unpredictable, constantly changing. Traditions slow things down, create order, create rhythm, and that rhythm feels comforting. There is also something reflective. They begin to ask, what truly matters? What should remain? And often, the answer lies in what has already lasted. There is also a difference in perspective. Younger people look forward, older people look for meaning, and meaning is often found in things that have stood the test of time. There is also a subtle fear of losing culture, of losing ways of life, so they hold on to traditions to preserve them, to pass them on. There is also something deeply human here. After a lifetime of change, people naturally move towards simplicity, toward familiarity, toward what feels right, and traditions offer that. There is also a quiet dignity in this. They are not stuck in the past. They are choosing what feels true, what feels meaningful, what feels worth keeping. In the end, becoming more traditional is not about rejecting the present. It is about selecting from the past what still feels valuable. And maybe the deeper truth is this: when life becomes complex, people do not always move forward towards something new. Sometimes they move inward, toward what has always been steady, reliable, and quietly meaningful. And as this shift continues, their connection to tradition becomes even more personal. It is no longer just about culture or habits. It becomes about emotional grounding, a way to stay steady in a world that keeps changing. They begin to rely on traditions the way someone relies on a familiar path. They know where it leads, they know how it feels, and that certainty brings comfort. There is also something very subtle here. Traditions reduce decision-making. They already know what to do, how to do it, when to do it. No need to think too much, no need to adjust. And this simplicity feels peaceful, because constant change requires constant thinking, and thinking becomes tiring, so tradition becomes relief. There is also a deeper emotional layer. Traditions connect them to people who may no longer be present. A meal made the same way, a routine followed for years, a small habit repeated daily. These things carry memories, so when they continue them, they feel connected again, not alone. There is also something about control. As life becomes less predictable, traditions create small areas of certainty, a structure, a rhythm, something that does not shift. And that feeling of control is very important. There is also a quiet belief forming. If something has lasted this long, there must be a reason. So they trust tradition, not blindly, but respectfully, because it has been tested by time. There is also a shift in how they see change. They do not reject all new things, but they question them more. They compare them with what they already know, and if something new does not feel stronger, they stay with the old. There is also something emotional in repetition. Doing the same things again and again does not feel boring to them. It feels calming, like a rhythm, like something that keeps life balanced. There is also a quiet pride. Traditions are part of their story, their upbringing, their experiences. So continuing them feels like honoring that story, not letting it disappear. There is also something about teaching. Even if they do not say it directly, they want to pass something forward, a way of living, a way of thinking. So holding on to tradition becomes a silent way of sharing. There is also a deeper connection with meaning. New things can feel temporary, but traditions feel rooted. They carry purpose. They carry identity, and identity becomes very important with age. There is also something about emotional safety. Traditions do not surprise them. They do not create confusion. They stay the same, and that sameness feels safe. There is also a quiet resistance to losing structure. Without tradition, life can feel unorganized, too open, too uncertain. So they keep what gives shape to their days. There is also something reflective here. They look back and realize that many meaningful moments came from simple, repeated traditions, not big changes. So they hold on to them because they know their value. There is also a soft acceptance. They understand that the world will move on, change will happen, but they do not feel the need to follow every change. They choose their own pace, and tradition fits that pace. There is also a deeper truth. Tradition is not just about the past. It is about continuity, a connection between what was and what still is. And older people become very aware of that connection. In the end, becoming more traditional is not about going backward. It is about holding on to what still feels right, what still works, what still carries meaning. And maybe the deeper truth is this: when life changes too fast, people do not always chase the new. Sometimes they hold on to the old, not because it is old, but because it is the only thing that still feels completely real. And as this continues, tradition becomes less about habit and more about protection. Protection of values, protection of identity, protection of meaning. They begin to feel that if they let go of certain traditions, something important may disappear with them, something that cannot be replaced. So they hold on more firmly, not out of stubbornness, but out of responsibility. There is also something very quiet happening. They stop explaining why they follow certain traditions, because for them, the why is already understood. It is felt, lived, repeated over years. So when others question it, they may not have long answers, just a simple response. This is how it should be. Not because they cannot explain, but because some things are beyond explanation. They are experienced. there is also a deeper emotional layer. Traditions create continuity, a feeling that life is still connected, that nothing has been completely lost. So even when everything changes around them, tradition becomes a thread that ties their past to their present. There is also something about stability of meaning. In a changing world, meanings can shift. Right and wrong can feel less clear. But traditions hold fixed meanings, clear roles, clear values, clear expectations, and that clarity feels grounding. There is also a quiet discomfort with how fast things evolve, not anger, but unease. Because when things change too quickly, it becomes hard to trust them, hard to fully understand them. So they step back and return to what feels solid, what has not changed. There is also something about emotional inheritance. They did not create all their traditions. They received them from parents, from family, from culture. So holding on to them feels like honoring those who came before, like carrying something forward. There is also a subtle fear. If I let this go, will the next generation forget it completely? So they continue, not just for themselves, but for those who come after. Even if those people do not fully understand it now, there is also something reflective. They begin to see life as a cycle. What was given to them, they pass forward, and tradition becomes part of that cycle, a quiet transfer of meaning. There is also a shift in flexibility. They may still adapt, but only in small ways, not fully changing, because full change feels like losing ground. And at this stage, they prefer to stand on something firm. There is also something about emotional certainty. Traditions remove doubt. They provide answers without needing to search, and that certainty brings calm. There is also a quiet dignity in holding on to tradition. It gives them a sense of structure, a sense of rightness, a sense that life still has order, even if everything else feels uncertain. There is also something deeply human here. At the end of a long life, people are not trying to redefine everything. They are trying to preserve what mattered, to keep something steady as everything else shifts. There is also a final shift. They no longer feel the need to convince others. They simply live their way, follow their traditions, and allow others to choose theirs, because they understand that every generation finds its own path. In the end, becoming more traditional is not about resisting change. It is about holding on to meaning, holding on to something that feels true, even when everything else feels uncertain. And maybe the final truth is this: when the world keeps changing, tradition becomes more than a habit. It becomes an anchor. And for someone who has seen many changes, an anchor is not something you easily let go. And in the final stage of this shift, tradition becomes almost invisible. Not something they think about, but something they live. It is in the way they speak, the way they sit, the way they respond to life. It becomes natural, effortless, like it has always been there. Because at this point, they are no longer choosing tradition. They are the tradition. Their life itself becomes an example, a quiet representation of values that have lasted. There is also something very deep here. They stop comparing old and new. They stop questioning what should change, because they have reached a place where clarity already exists. They know what feels right, and that is enough. There is also a gentle detachment. They allow the world to change without feeling the need to follow, not with resistance, but with calm distance. They observe, they accept, but they stay rooted. There is also a quiet confidence, not loud, not forceful, but steady. A confidence that comes from living long enough to understand what truly matters, so they do not feel shaken by every new idea. They remain grounded. There is also something emotional here. Traditions now carry not just memory, but meaning. A meaning that has been tested across years, across situations, across life itself, so they trust it deeply without needing to explain it. There is also a soft independence. They no longer seek approval for how they live. They no longer adjust to fit every new expectation. They live according to what feels true to them. And that truth is often shaped by tradition. there is also a quiet awareness of time. They understand that they may be among the last to fully carry certain ways of living, certain values, certain habits, and this awareness makes those traditions feel even more important, more worth preserving. There is also something reflective. When they look at younger generations, they do not always try to correct them. They simply hope that something will be carried forward, even if it changes shape, even if it looks different. There is also a deep sense of completion. They feel that they have lived through enough change to know what stays and what fades, and tradition is what has stayed. So they hold on to it as something final, something steady. There is also a quiet peace in this. No more searching, no more experimenting, just living in alignment with what feels right. There is also something very human in this final stage. After a lifetime of adapting, they return to something simple, something familiar, something true. And that return does not feel like going backward. It feels like arriving. In the end, becoming more traditional is not about holding on to the past. It is about carrying forward what has proven its value, what has shaped them, what has given their life meaning. And maybe the final truth is this: after seeing the world change again and again, a person does not hold on to tradition because they fear the new. They hold on to it because they have learned some things are worth keeping exactly as they are.